so you guys know this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago.
We have the most amazing Turning Point USA family. They've rallied around myself, my children.
Because his parents are private. We saw them for the first time at the funeral.
Yes.
You did such a beautiful job there.
My mom is...
The courtroom was silent in a way that felt heavier than usual, the kind of silence that settles into the walls and makes every breath feel louder than it should. Observers leaned forward slightly, sensing that something significant was about to unfold. At the center of it all sat Erika Kirk, a figure who had recently found herself pulled into a legal situation that had captured public attention and sparked widespread conversation. What happened next, according to accounts from those present and reports that later surfaced, became a moment that few expected but many would talk about. The dispute revolved around a deeply personal and emotionally charged issue involving the use of a name connected to someone referred to publicly as Charlie. While legal matters involving family or personal identity often carry complex layers, this particular situation seemed to carry an additional emotional weight. According to available information, the case centered on whether Erika had the legal right to continue using Charlie's name in certain contexts. The details behind why the name held such importance remain largely private, though public speculation has suggested it could relate to family connections, personal branding, or guardianship matters. As proceedings unfolded, the judge carefully reviewed arguments presented by both sides. Courtroom discussions reportedly included references to legal precedent, personal rights, and the potential impact on those involved. Those who follow legal proceedings closely often describe moments like this as emotionally intense, especially when personal relationships intersect with formal rulings. When the judge ultimately delivered the decision to block Erika from using Charlie's name in the manner she had been using it, the atmosphere reportedly shifted almost instantly. Observers described a visible change in Erika's demeanor. Some reports suggest she appeared stunned, while others say her reaction reflected deep frustration and emotional strain. It is important to note that courtroom reactions can be influenced by many factors, including stress, surprise, and the emotional weight of legal outcomes. Legal experts who later discussed the case noted that rulings involving names or identity usage often stem from concerns about representation, consent, or potential confusion. Courts frequently aim to balance personal expression with the protection of individual rights. While the exact legal reasoning behind the decision remains complex, many commentators emphasized that such rulings are rarely made lightly. For Erika, however, the decision reportedly felt deeply personal. Observers described moments where her composure seemed to waver as the ruling was clarified. Emotional responses during court decisions are not uncommon, especially when outcomes affect relationships or personal identity. According to some individuals familiar with the proceedings, Erika expressed strong feelings about what she believed the name represented, though the specifics of her perspective have not been fully detailed in official records. Outside the courtroom, public discussion quickly gained momentum. Social media platforms lit up with debates, theories, and emotional reactions from people trying to understand the situation. Some supporters expressed sympathy for Erika, suggesting that personal identity and emotional bonds can be deeply tied to names and shared history. Others emphasized the importance of legal boundaries and individual rights, highlighting that courts must consider the well-being and protection of everyone involved. Situations like this often create ripple effects that extend far beyond legal documents. Public narratives can shape how individuals are perceived, sometimes overshadowing the nuanced reality of legal and personal complexities. According to commentators who follow high-profile disputes, public reactions can sometimes simplify deeply layered situations into emotional soundbites. As conversations continued to unfold, attention gradually shifted toward the background of Erika and her connection to Charlie. While verified details remain limited, some reports suggest their relationship had previously been portrayed as close or significant in some way. Public speculation, however, should always be approached carefully, as incomplete information can easily lead to misunderstandings. Legal analysts who weighed in on the case highlighted an important theme that often arises in disputes involving identity or naming rights. They noted that names can hold symbolic, emotional, and sometimes professional value. When disagreements arise, courts often focus on ensuring that no party experiences harm, confusion, or misrepresentation as a result of how the name is used. For viewers and observers, the emotional component of the case appeared to resonate strongly. Many people shared personal stories about how names can carry memories, relationships, and a sense of belonging. The case seemed to spark a broader conversation about how identity intersects with law and personal expression. Yet beneath the public debate, another question lingered quietly. How would this ruling affect Erika moving forward? According to available information, legal decisions like this can sometimes require individuals to adjust branding, communication, or public representation. Such transitions can be challenging, especially when identity and public perception have become closely intertwined. As the legal dust began to settle, reports suggested that Erika's emotional response in the courtroom became one of the most discussed elements of the case. Some observers interpreted her reaction as a sign of deep personal investment, while others saw it as a reflection of the intense pressure that often accompanies public legal disputes. Emotional responses during legal proceedings are often complex and can stem from a wide range of personal experiences. Here's where the story takes an even more thought-provoking turn.
Many legal observers began asking whether the ruling might influence future cases involving similar disputes. Naming rights and identity representation are becoming increasingly relevant in modern society, especially as personal branding, social media presence, and public identity continue to grow in importance. According to legal commentators, cases like this can sometimes shape how future disputes are approached, even if they do not create formal precedent. Public reaction continued evolving as more people reflected on the emotional and legal layers of the situation. Some individuals emphasized the importance of respecting court rulings, viewing them as necessary tools for protecting fairness and clarity. Others focused more on the human aspect, expressing empathy for how emotionally difficult such rulings can be for those involved. Throughout the unfolding conversation, one consistent theme emerged. Situations involving personal identity often carry emotional stakes that extend far beyond legal language. Names can represent history, connection, and shared experiences, making disputes involving them particularly sensitive. For Erika, the path forward remains uncertain according to available public information. Legal decisions can sometimes open new chapters, even when they close others. Observers have speculated about how she might adapt to the ruling, though no confirmed statements have fully outlined her next steps. Charlie's perspective, meanwhile, has remained largely private. In many cases involving personal identity or family matters, courts and individuals alike prioritize privacy, especially when sensitive relationships are involved. Respecting that privacy remains an important part of understanding the situation responsibly. As public interest continues, the case has also sparked deeper discussions about how society defines identity and ownership. Experts in legal ethics often note that identity is both deeply personal and legally structured, creating tension when disputes arise. The balance between emotional attachment and legal clarity is rarely simple. Another layer of complexity involves public perception. When legal disputes enter the public eye, narratives can form quickly, sometimes before full details are understood. Commentators often caution that public reactions can be shaped by limited information, making it important to approach such situations with empathy and careful consideration. In reflecting on the courtroom moment itself, observers described a scene filled with tension, emotion, and finality. The judge's decision reportedly marked a turning point not just in legal terms, but in the emotional journey of those involved. Moments like these can become defining chapters in personal stories, shaping how individuals move forward both privately and publicly. As time passes, situations like this often fade from headlines, but their impact can remain deeply personal for those directly involved. Legal outcomes can influence relationships, public perception, and personal identity in ways that extend far beyond the courtroom. And that brings us to a final reflection that continues to resonate long after the ruling was delivered. Disputes involving identity remind us how deeply connected names can be to memory, belonging, and personal history. They highlight the delicate balance between individual expression and legal protection. For many observers, this case serves as a reminder that behind every legal argument lies a human story filled with emotion, complexity, and personal meaning. As public attention gradually shifts to news stories and developments, the emotional echoes of this case remain part of a broader conversation about identity, law, and personal connection. Whether viewed through a legal lens or an emotional one, the situation involving Erika and Charlie continues to spark discussion about how individuals navigate deeply personal matters within structured legal systems. Stories like this often encourage reflection. They invite audiences to consider how identity shapes personal journeys and how legal decisions can influence those journeys in unexpected ways. They also remind us that every public headline represents real individuals facing moments that can feel overwhelming, life-changing, and deeply personal. If this story made you think, sparked questions, or gave you a new perspective, you are not alone. Conversations like these help people better understand the complicated intersection between law, identity, and emotion. If you found this breakdown insightful, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more thoughtful storytelling and analysis of trending public situations. Your support helps keep these conversations going. And most importantly, share your perspective in the comments below. How do you feel about legal disputes involving identity and personal names? Your voice adds depth to the conversation, and we would genuinely love to hear your thoughts.